Alright, so we're going to continue where we left off in this assignment. So hopefully you clicked on File and Save. So we're going to be opening a project. So click on the file, Open, and I'm looking for the most recent project name. So this is where we left it off in the last video. So for the remainder of this, you'll need a special brush that's found in the Google Classroom. So go to Google Classroom, look in the Mahomes Shatter project. You'll see a zipped folder file called Free Broken Glass. It's a brush. So when you click on it, you'll just see a preview, which there's nothing to see. So you'll need to open it in a new window. So that option is up here in the right hand corner there. Click Open in New Window, and in this screen you'll have the option to download the file. So you want to click that download button. It's going to download to your computer, and now that it's in there, we can now go back to our project, click on File again, and click on Open. Then find the file that you just downloaded, the folder, and then click on Open. It's going to say brush added. So we just added a brush to your program that we can access now. So before we do anything official on our project, we're going to practice on the black layer. So if you go ahead and hide all the other eyeballs, you're just left with this black layer. And if it's not black for some reason, you can select the layer and then click on File, click on Edit, then Fill, and fill it with black. It's just the easy way for us to practice using the paintbrush. So the paintbrush tool is found it's a little ways, a third of the way down the tools list here. So you want to find that, click on it, and we're just going to go over some of the basics of using the brush. So the basic settings are the size and the hardness, and a basic brush is just a round circle. So if you choose a hard brush, it's going to have a nice hard transition between what you're painting and the background. There's no like fading in. Compare that to a soft brush. So if you reduce the hardness, say to about 20%, now you can see there's a fade that happens. So there's a little transition period between the solid color and the background. So this is the difference between a hard and a soft brush. So then you have the option for some custom brush shapes. So you can see in the list here, we've added anything after the number 2663. Those are the ones that we just added. So there's some that were built in with Photopea to start with. So there's this brush here. But the ones that we just brought in are meant to be used in the way that we're going to be using it in our project. These are glass shatter. They're more of a texture. So when you load a brush, you can see the shape. So the tip of this brush, the size you can see is very large. It's in the thousands of pixels. So I'm going to go ahead and just click. This would not be a brush that you'd really make brush strokes with, but you're just going to click one time to create a pattern. So it looks like broken glass. So we're going to use this technique on our project to make it look like Mahomes has shattered in pieces and he's flying away. Alright, so that's kind of the concept here. Let's go ahead and get to work on our project. So I'm going to go ahead and fill this with black again. I'm going to go to the Edit, Fill, and then fill it back with black. This will be useful in the next step. I'm going to reveal both. Actually, let's just go ahead and reveal the non-stretched version of Mahomes. Let's start with him. and we're just going to add a mask to the layer. So nothing is selected, we're just going to add a mask to the entire layer. So I'm going to go down below the layers panel down here, click on the add raster mask option. So it adds a mask and it's completely filled with white. So what we want to do now is paint with black on a white mask. That will remove content. So it's going to create holes in our whatever the image is. So it's going to hide those pixels. So I'm going to now paint with black, so I need to reverse my color scheme. So I'm going to click on the arrow to quickly reverse from a white foreground to a black foreground. The foreground is the color that you'll paint with. So now I'm going to just go around the edges of my homes here and just take some pieces out just by clicking. So I'm just going to use the very edge of the brush to take some pieces out. Whoops, I clicked somewhere else outside of there. So if you need to grab the brush again, let's see, where did I have that? I should go select another brush. So this is the brush properties. While I'm here, I'll talk about this. So in here, you have the option of choosing your brush, the size, and also the angle, and some other settings. What's most important in this is the size, obviously, and if you get to where you're reusing the same pieces and you want to use some different pieces, you can change the angle. That way you can work with a different side of the brush. So now I have some different pieces available for me to use on this side of the brush. So I'm going to switch up brushes now. Try this one here. Just trying to take some smaller pieces out. There we go. So that's what we're going to be doing for the normal looking Mahomes. Now I'm going to go and switch to the stretched out version. So we're done with that one. I'm going to just enable the stretched version. And what I want to do is create a mask for this layer as well. Let me collapse the brush options for a second. So I'm going to create a mask. And anywhere in a mask that's white, the pixels are visible. So what I want to do here is reverse the color scheme of the mask so that it's black instead of white. That way all of the pixels will be hidden. So now I'm going to click on Edit and Fill, and I can actually fill my mask with black. So now that is hidden. It's still there, but the mask is hiding it. So I'm going to reveal some pieces by painting now, or clicking with my brush to reveal some little pieces. Oh, wait, this didn't work because I need to switch to a white foreground. So now I'm painting on black, so I want to paint with white. So I'm going to reverse the color scheme. So white is the foreground. And I'm going to click to reveal some little pieces flying off here. So maybe that's too tight of a pattern. Let me undo those brush strokes. Find a different brush that's a little more spread out. Actually, I could probably try to increase the size of this. Let's try something like 4,000. That's still too close together. So let me just choose a different brush. So we have several different glass shatter brushes in here. I think this one's a little more spread out. Yeah, that one is. So I'm going to start off with a few pieces and then I'll increase the amount later on. So just want a few brush strokes So we don't want to reveal too much. That will make it look too much of like clustery. So I'm not great at this technique, but just kind of adding some pieces here and there. Alright, that looks good. Alright, so that's the overall gist of the effect that we're trying to create here, is that Mahomes has somehow shattered himself, and that is it pretty much. So let me go ahead and enable the background and view what we have. So your next assignment is to recreate this same project using a different subject matter. So you get to choose what you want your foreground image to be. So it could be a different sports person, or it could be a musician, or an actor, like a superhero, something like that. And then you're going to remove the background, whatever their background is, and you're going to then use the high pass filter to make it look aggressive like this. And then I also want you to practice using the different blend modes. So we created a background with 3 different images. We have a logo, we have a texture, and then we have a solid background. So all of those combined together create this background. So that's what I want you to do, is find some elements and blend them together. So you could find, you know, some sort of logo if they have a logo, or just be creative, find something. And then you can find textures online if you just do an image search for textured background. And there's several that you could choose from, different textures that you could use. And then again, you could blend these in with a solid color, or just be creative in how you use it. Doesn't have to be black and white. If you have a colored texture, it will blend colors together as well. You could actually use two textures together. The sky's the limit. You choose what you want to use. So I just want you to practice changing the blend mode. So on mine, the logo, I changed that to vivid light, and the texture is set to subtract, and then the red is just plain red. So everything's blending with this solid red background. And then apply the technique that we just learned today with the brush tool. It'll take a little bit more time than I did. I wasn't really careful in where I placed the different pieces. So yeah, you just take some time, play around with the brushes, get whatever looks good to you, and that's it for this project. You'll have class time next week to work on it, so this is not necessarily homework. I know we spent most of the time actually going over this stuff. So review this, and if you missed anything in the previous video, you can view that as well to review. Alright, that's it for now.